Welcome everyone. Hi, my name is Thomas. I'm with Deep Ecosystems and we help entrepreneurs to build their ecosystems instead of moving away to London or Paris. So today we are here to do an ecosystem health check and to understand how healthy the Nordic ecosystems are. And we have some people here in the room and we want to play a bit with these papers that we brought for you, and we can run through your ecosystems and understand how healthy the ecosystems are. And I think that should be a lot of fun, and we should learn a lot from each other about what's going on in all of the places. There's also my colleague, Sebastian. Hello. Sebastian is a Chilean citizen and he moved to Europe just very recently. Sebastian, do you want to say about yourself, who you are? What do you do?
Yeah, sure. It's a huge pleasure for me being here. Safety first, of course. I come all the way from Chile. I was deeply involved with the creation of the ecosystem down there. I was managing Startup Chile, one of the biggest startup accelerators in the world. We basically managed to put a small country into the innovation global map. So that experience brought me here just to start creating ecosystems from Europe to the world now.
Exactly. And isn't that what we all want, to build our ecosystems? Because here is what we all believe in. It is that ecosystems matter more than unicorns. And I hope everyone here in the room buys into that vision, because we are all about this. And maybe if I scroll through here, do I do that myself or is the technician doing that? I do it. Okay. Good. So this is about us. We are a team of 5 founders. We all come from different ecosystems in the world. We cover places like Germany, where I'm from. I was with Microsoft Ventures, Technical University in Munich. Then I joined the EIT Digital, the European Union, invested in startups in Southern and Eastern Europe. And there's also other colleagues that you can't see anymore because this presentation has gone rogue. So they've been in Africa and working with ecosystems in Africa. There's someone from the development world in our team, a professor of entrepreneurship, and we have a serial entrepreneur from the biotech field as well in our team. So we have been building ecosystems for over 10 years, and now we are setting out to help all the others who are on the same journey and want to build their ecosystems. And this is our process, how we support ecosystems. We start with bringing together the community of like-minded people who want to bring their regions forward, who want to grow their communities, their startup communities, and work in accordance and in partnership with other ecosystem builders worldwide. We run programs with them. One is, for example, that we bring them twice a year to a conference, which is much smaller than TechBBQ, but it is a nice little family gathering where we bring our people together and come up with new ideas, look into data together, look at innovation topics, and then create new projects, which then go actually into the collaboration phase where we have an accelerator for ecosystem projects. So, for example, there is a live example here with us, Nick from TechBBQ, who was participating in our accelerator just this year. So, Nick, wave! So, a living testimonial to the success of our program, I think. And if you're interested, please reach out to us, talk to us, and you will also be able... Can I see the next slide? It's not working, unfortunately. Oh yeah, you can come to our conference on 18th of October. It will be in Germany, in Essen. So if you're interested to meet the Ruhr ecosystem in Germany, that is a nice conference to come to. Okay, now I talked enough so that there's actually people in the room. That is fantastic. So what we're doing today is something very fast, but still fun. We're doing a health check of your ecosystems. So we're inviting all of you not to sit on your chairs actually, but actually you have to become active in this little workshop. And we have these fantastic sheets here on the left-hand side, on my left-hand side, your right-hand side, which is our tool that we use to assess the position of an ecosystem when we start working with our partners. So we look at the ecosystem as a whole, trying to understand where are your strengths, where is weaknesses, where is growth opportunities. So, and this is really a tool that has helped us a lot to identify on which sectors to work. Today, we are doing this very fast, very fast. It's really just to understand how the tool works and to get your mind to open up and to try out this tool. So we have 8 metrics that measure the general health of the ecosystem. And what we have to do is we have to always compare our current state with a potential benchmark, saying like, where are we today in that field and where do we want to go? So a very simple example, we want to be like Silicon Valley, so we need to have an annual investment rate of, how much is it in Silicon Valley? Anyone an idea? How many $1 billion do we have in Silicon Valley every year raised by startups?
400.
400 billion. Not as much, I think, but let's say around 50 to 100 billion. How much do we have in London? How many billion do they raise? No idea? Any guesses?
10.
10. Very good. Almost on point. It's 11 to 12. How much Copenhagen? Anyone an idea? I have no idea, actually. 2. Copenhagen 2 can't be, because there's only 6 ecosystems in Europe that raised more than 1 billion per year, and Copenhagen is unfortunately not part of that. So yeah, 6 ecosystems in Europe raise more than 1 billion per year. Very few. So very simple example, we want to be like Silicon Valley. We need to raise more than $50 billion per year with our startups. That is our benchmark. We are, let's say we are London, we're at 11, so we are still far from our benchmark, right? Very, very simple concept. That's what we do in the ecosystem health check. The good thing is we're not doing this with the investments, but we do it with factors we actually have a handle over. So we look at factors that we can actually influence. So if I might put your attention to these sheets here, we look, for example, at diversity and inclusivity. We look at innovation culture. We look at network density. So that is like, how much can we meet? How much can we exchange? How close are we to each other? International connectivity. So we look at input factors that help us understand where we stand in terms of health of the ecosystem. Do we cater well to the needs of our ecosystem, of the needs of our startups? That is the main question. And once we go through that and we compare current to benchmark, we will have an indicator in which fields are we good, we are on track, and on other fields we might not be on track, we need to fix things. Yes?
Yeah, Heikki from Hamburg. I was just interested, do you ever compare ecosystems with relative terms, like normalize it with cost of living or cost of labor?
Very good.
It doesn't make sense to
Very good.
compare.
Yes, very good. So that is absolutely right. So normalizing and making sure that the comparison is fair. Since here we are not comparing the ecosystems one-on-one, we're comparing against benchmarks. It is really something that we can design when we do this check. So for example, when we look at investments, we would say, what is our benchmark? Is that another city that we see already? Then it might make sense to do it per capita or whatever. Or is that something that we use from our own past? So we could say also maybe the highest number that we ever raised is our benchmark. So we always want to be above that. Maybe we're not above this at this moment. So it depends a bit on how we define the benchmark. Okay, but without further ado, and because we don't have too much time and I want you to play, I want you now to, we have 10 of these sheets, so we can make 10 groups. Basically, where are you all from? Which ecosystems do you represent?
You're from Iceland?
Iceland, awesome, fantastic. So we have Reykjavik ecosystem here.
The Faroe Islands. All of us.
You're also from Iceland?
Faroe Islands.
Faroe Islands, fantastic. I'm looking forward to hear what's happening there. Fantastic, great. And there? Sweden, fantastic. Norway, we have many ecosystems. That's very good. Also Sweden, same place or?
Yeah, same place.
Okay.
I count 4. Denmark, technically.
Denmark, but city-wise, you were from Oslo?
Trondheim.
Trondheim, awesome. We do Trondheim then. And you are from Gothenburg?
Yeah.
Yes, fantastic. So we have Gothenburg. We have fantastic ecosystems. And you're from?
Greece.
Greece, even better.
Who's from
Athens?
Greece? You're from Greece, nice.
Athens or? Athens, fantastic. And you're from?
Trondheim.
Trondheim as well. Yeah. So we have a Trondheim team there. And you're also from Faroe Islands? Two cities, so you can do 2 teams. Did we have more than 10 now?
No, we have only 10, but we can.
No, but I think there was not 10 ecosystems in the end. What,
No.
maybe 6 or 7. Okay, good. So what I would say is, now you get up, grab one of those sheets, find a spot here, and put it on the wall. And then the first task you have is to put your city name in the middle. That is your first task. Good. Oh, yeah, just give it to them. They can probably undo that, and otherwise they take forever. Okay. Good. Have one? Great. One per group, that would be fantastic. Okay, here you go. That is one, yes. More. Maybe you can walk through. And then 2. Fantastic. Ah, yeah, actually, you can also take those that are hanging already. You have a little less work. Huh? So just go to one of those.
Make more sense for us.
Okay. Good. So just find a spot where you can write. Yeah, you use the stage. Please, please, please. I don't need any space here. Okay. There's also one still not taken there. That's fantastic. Ah. Good. Okay. Have you written your city name in the center? So put your city name in the center. Okay, good. Fantastic. Now, okay, can everyone hear me? And are you ready for the first test? So the first test we want to do is on diversity and inclusivity. So that is the top left corner. There we have diversity and inclusivity. What we need to decide now is what number are we using to measure the diversity and inclusivity. So does anyone have an idea how you would measure diversity and inclusivity? What would be a good number to look at? Do you have an idea? What could be? No, not 1 to 10, but like what is the a proxy that measures diversity and inclusivity?
Branches, different branches.
Teams, yeah, branch. What teams, if I may ask? Mixed teams. So, for example, the percentage of startups that have male and female founders. Okay, also diverse, and so just not one gender only teams, the percentage of those that have diverse teams. That could be a good number, right? So you could measure diversity by that number, for example. Any other suggestions how to measure diversity?
Number of foreign founders.
Foreign founders, yes. Percentage of female founders. Yeah, that could be also a good one. Okay, so the thing is, we want to look at, for our ecosystem, for what makes most sense. You can decide on your own what you would put in terms of a number and say, that is important for us. For example, some might say, for me it's very important to have LGBTQ founders, and others would say, no, it's more important female founders. In Africa, when we do this, we often have the question of the percentage of black founders who get funding. So you have different elements to measure diversity and inclusivity depending on the context. So for you, you need to decide what is it that measures diversity and inclusivity for you. Exactly. So, but now for this, I would say, what do we take as a group? What do we take all together? What do we measure? What is the simplest?
Female founders.
Female founders. Do we want to take female founders as a proxy for this? Okay, so what do you think is the benchmark? What do you think what is the number that is a good number at the moment?
what is the ecosystem now that we see that has a good amount of, decent amount of female founders
Yeah.
that we can just put as a good example. Any ideas?
I think we are close to 30% in Iceland.
How many?
Which one?
30%?
30%? Iceland 30% you think you have. That is very interesting because the average in Europe is 15.5% female founders. 15.5, right? I can show you, for example, just to give you an idea, what we have in, actually I can't because it's not working. So I know it by heart. Okay. So London would have 17, 18%. 17, 18% female founders in London. Iceland, 30%. You think so? Okay. So we could say by now Iceland is maybe top notch, right? The highest that we measured in Europe was Vienna, which 34%. So let's say 30% is our benchmark. Sad enough, huh? But let's say 30% is our benchmark. That would mean we are outperforming all the other ecosystems, most of the ecosystems in Europe in terms of female percentage. So we would write into the target 30% female founders. That would be our benchmark. The task now is, do you know how much you have in your city? No idea. Not a lot. But can you guess? Yeah, maybe guess.
Female, are we talking for tech startups or startups in general?
Startups, I would say, in general definition, being like a growth-oriented company, not a restaurant.
Okay. Very few. I would say
Yeah.
under 10%.
Okay, so we're just guessing. We're doing this fast now, so 10%. Okay, so we are at 10%.
8 in
Here.
Greece?
In Greece, sir?
If
No.
that's a guess, close enough.
I mean,
yeah?
you guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, good. So then you would have already your result for the first for the first metric, and you see there a little dot in the top of this where it says if you have 80% of the target, you can color it in green. Does anyone have 80% of the target? Nope. Here, the Icelandic, we have one green. So we're all jealous of Iceland now. So, okay, 1 to 0 for you. Okay, so the others, you just make a minus, or if you have like colored red, but I don't think we have a red color. So you put a minus.
Put a minus,
Put a
or plus
minus.
if you have more than 80.
Okay. Good. That was the first one. Too bad. Now we go to the next one. Knowledge and talent. Knowledge and talent. What could be a good number to measure knowledge and talent? What could be a good number? Percentage of higher education.
Yeah, people with a higher education.
Okay, that's good. Can we get a bit closer to startups, maybe, with talent?
Level of education in startups.
The level of education in startups. Okay. What talent would startups need a lot? Every talent. Okay. Maybe developers. Number of developers could maybe be a number that we can use. Okay. Any other suggestions? What could work?
Can you hand me the scissors?
Should we take number of developers? Number of developers. We take number of developers. So let me see.
Developers or educated
Sorry?
developers or educated developers? Computer science
That is a very good question.
developers, because there is a difference between.
That is a difference. Yes. I actually, what do you prefer?
I don't care.
So
We will probably all get a higher score if you take the developers in general,
yes,
because there are much more of them everywhere than computer science.
that might be a good one then. I just move here so that I can actually use the tool here, because probably we probably don't know what is a good number, right? Does anyone have an idea how many developers does Berlin have? Do you have any idea? Probably not. That's why I pulled up our database, which is on the startup Heatmap, And this database has a lot of ecosystem data, and among it, it has also the number of developers per city. So can anyone read it? Is there the number of developers? Yes, here, number of developers on Stack Overflow per city. To your question, we had the same question, and we said we don't take the ones that have graduated computer science, but we take those that are actively contributing on a platform like Stack Overflow. So that's a different measure. And you see here, this one is probably the highest. Let me sort by this. So 357,000 is London. So London has 360,000 developers. Now, of course, that is maybe a sum that you want to take per capita. Something like that. How many inhabitants do they have? London has many. Let's say 10 million. So 35. So okay, good. So then let's take that number. And do you have any clue how many developers you would have in your ecosystem?
We just Googled, and in the group programmers in Iceland, there are 6,700 people.
6,700.
So it's 1.9%.
Yeah, of the population. Mm-hmm. How does that compare to London? You want to calculate that percentage as well? There's 360,000 developers. Yeah, 2.6. 3.6, yes, you're right. Okay, good. So 3.6 would be maybe the benchmark of the population. And we know now in Iceland we have, what was it, 1.9? Okay. Okay. Any other Googlers? Did you find your numbers? Okay. Any guesses? Do you think you're green? Who thinks they are green on this? Greece might be green. Okay, so there might be in Athens might be an ecosystem green. Very good. So you make a plus in there. Okay, good. Then we go to the next one already. We go to startup support. Startup support. How can we measure startup support? Any suggestions how to measure the startup support in your ecosystem?
Available soft funding?
Number of?
Available soft funding.
Soft funding, that is like support probably.
Public support? Yes.
Number of incubators, number of accelerators, yes, very good. Maybe number of startups that participated in accelerators. Okay, actually we have that number, so we can look at the number of accelerated startups. That is very good. Where's my mouse? Here it is. Let me see. Can anyone read it? Do you see number of accelerated startup?
Not yet.
Oh, my eyes are too bad. No. No of developers. No, actually, I don't see it. It's not here. Okay. Well. It's maybe in the other one. Here we might have it. But we can see the number of accelerators at least. Okay. So at least we see the number of accelerators. So we have 13 accelerators in London. 13 accelerators in London. So real accelerator programs, real, like with funding and months of support, etc. 13. So maybe that's our benchmark. How many accelerators do you have in your ecosystems? Real accelerators that give money, and 4. One. Several months program, give money. One. Okay. How many do you have? No one with funding. No one. 0. Okay. No funding. Okay. Copenhagen 4. Okay. Anyone else having a good number? Okay. So.
All minus here.
All minuses. Anyone green? Or we could, of course, take another city, not London. Huh? So, but okay. So let's say if the benchmark was, let's say the benchmark is not 13 because London is really big. Let's take the benchmark would be 5. 5 accelerator programs. Let's say that's the benchmark. Who is getting a green? 5. Yeah. Copenhagen green. So Copenhagen is green.
There was 0, so yeah. Okay.
Good. So we have 1 green over there. Is anyone else green? Athens is also green. Great. So we're getting there. We're getting some greens. Good. Also here green.
Nice.
How many do you have?
Depends on how you define accelerator, but
We said like with funding several months.
then we definitely have a lot of. Yeah.
Okay, green. Fantastic. Good. That is turning out nicely. Okay. Now, the next one I would just go down is network density. Network density. There we usually look at number of meetups or participant in meetups. How often do people meet? How do they mingle, etc., and so on. So, what do you think would be a good number of meetups? Do you have a feeling?
Per year?
Per year, yeah. Number of meetups being organized. Yeah.
Every week, okay.
Maybe every week would be a good number.
So 1 per week.
1 per week, would that be a benchmark?
50 and 60 per year.
So 50, 60 meetups would be a good benchmark.
Okay.
So every week you can go to 1 event. Okay. Let's take that as a benchmark. Can we go in your ecosystems, can we go every week to a meetup? Startup meetup. That's a good question. Okay. Okay. I can see if I have some numbers on that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Number of meetup participants probably I have. It is. Do you see it? I can't really read. Where is it? Yeah, it doesn't matter now. No, it's not here. For your meetup growth here, but it's only the growth. Ah, yeah, okay, good. Okay, so who's green on meetups? Ah, you put 15, then you're green.
A bit low.
A bit low. Okay, so you think no, you are not green. Okay.
I wrote 15 for the target, but it was supposed to be 5 hours.
Ah, okay. But how many do you have? You think how many meetups?
I would say, yeah, once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah.
You-
We also have like, I'm doing Gothenburg Tech Week, and that's
Mhm.
so
Okay. Yeah.
spread out. We have
Okay. 1 per week. Okay. Fantastic. That's great. Also green.
It's getting better, yes.
It's getting better. Yes. Okay. Okay. We're getting up. Fantastic. Also, your Iceland is green. No. There you have some problems. Yeah, actually, just fun fact. I mean, meetup growth is through the roof. Actually, in the big places, the Corona crisis increased the participation in meetups tremendously because people said, "Oh, now I can go to meetups in London." But then other meetups in the regions, they suffered a lot because people were like, "Okay, now you're competing with the speakers that speak in London," And so there was quite a shift in meetup participation when it happened, shifted to online. Okay, good. Then we go to a hard one, specialization. Specialization. How could you measure how specialized you are in your ecosystem? Yeah, exactly, industries. Do you have strong industries where you really are specialist, where you're really, really good?
You can look at what industries the startups in the ecosystem are.
Mm-hmm.
You have like 40% of your ecosystem is hardware.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're pretty specialized in hardware compared to a lot of other places.
Exactly, exactly. So we could look at the breakdown, for example, investments per vertical, and then say, do we have like a very strong vertical that maybe can compete with larger ecosystems, while the rest in my ecosystem is not competing so well with others. So for example, one way to measure this is, okay, I take my best vertical and compare only this vertical with one of the top cities, or with the median of the top cities, you know? So you could say, overall, I'm not close to London. No chance I will reach London. No chance. But if I take only, I don't know, automotive, actually our investments are similar to those that London gets. So then you can say, okay, our specialization is very strong. So do you have any, so let's just say, for this, we just count yes or no, because now it's too complicated to calculate that. But do you feel you have one vertical that is globally competitive, where you say, we're overall maybe not, but in this vertical, we are top of the world? Yes? Okay, which ones are those?
Fisheries, green energy, renewable energy.
Renewable energy startups as well, yeah. Renewable energy startups here in Iceland. Okay, so in that there you say top notch. What is the biggest startup from Iceland in that?
In renewables, yeah, that puts probably.
And what do they do?
They take CO2 and turn it into stone.
Awesome. I read that just recently.
Down into the earth.
Yeah, I read that in a newspaper just recently. Yes, you're right. Cool. Okay, so Iceland top notch in CO2 storage. So plus for you.
Salmon farming, fish farming.
Fish farming and startups in fish farming.
We have many startups around fish farming, yes.
Awesome.
Oh, I thought you meant that what are we particularly good at?
But in startups, I was thinking.
Yeah, but many
Yeah, it was a
startups, fish
startup
industry
for
as well.
Uh-huh.
20 years ago.
That's a good one. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is your year?
Yes, let's say 5 years, 10 years old maximum, have raised, has become a big company. Okay.
Not something that has global.
Okay.
Big contribution on the Faroese economy.
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, minus. So here,
Life science.
life sciences, yes, and do you have really strong ones?
Cell-Link is a big player.
What is it called?
Cell-Link.
Celic. And,
Human tissue.
okay, wonderful, wonderful. Do you know how much they raised, how big they are?
I don't know those numbers.
You don't know, okay.
It's a lot of money. They have
A lot of money, so north of 100 million.
yeah.
Okay, cool, cool, awesome. Gothenburg plus for life sciences. Fantastic. Athens? Not sure if you have like a global champion. Food delivery, yeah. Mm-hmm. Not 100% sure if they are super competitive. Okay, so question mark. Question mark. Nick?
Fintech.
Fintech. Fintech, you're stronger than the big ones.
It's what the strongest probably. Together, like toe to toe with SaaS.
Okay.
Software as a service.
Okay, so that is like on a global level. What's the biggest SaaS company here?
I would say contract books, you could say.
Uh-huh.
Or for fintech, Luna.
Luna, okay, uh-huh.
So these are the two current biggest.
Okay, okay.
Getting in quite some big rounds.
So plus for Copenhagen. Okay, any pluses to take here?
It's probably been historically been hardware, but right
Uh-huh.
now it's a little bit of like You already know what it is.
Okay, so maybe at the moment not so much. Okay, maybe a minus. Okay, some pluses and minuses we have here. Fantastic. Then let's go on for innovation culture. Innovation culture. Do you have a thought for how to measure innovation culture? Anyone a suggestion how to measure innovation culture? Innovation culture basically means how open are people to innovate together, share ideas, collaborate on something new. Any number that could help us in that for the innovation culture?
Number of new companies?
Number of new companies registered. How many people become entrepreneurs? Huh? Maybe that per capita or percentage as well. Number of new companies. Okay. We need to rush. Oh, we bench. Okay. Okay, so number of new companies per year. Does anyone know how many companies you have? Do you know how many companies per year are founded in Gothenburg? Sorry? You don't? Surprising. Yes. Who knows the number of companies in their ecosystem per year? Rough.
This year, to date, 2,400 companies have been established in Iceland till the end of August.
200.
In Iceland,
2,400
in this year alone.
this year.
But these are all companies, not only startups. Okay, how many startups are founded, growth companies? Does anyone have any number in mind how many companies are founded, startups are founded in their ecosystem? Okay. Tough. Yeah. It needs research, okay.
What's the ratio of innovation, of startups in general?
Yeah, so,
Given time, because you need some kind of a, ratio to be able
to compare. Yes, so you could compare per capita, you could compare per GDP, so you could normalize it for this or that.
Like you said, if there are
If there are 2,400 companies that have been established in 8 months in Iceland,
That is a lot, yes.
you need to know what the ratio of startups of the total ecosystem is.
So you want to estimate based on that ratio. That is a very good question. So I would say in Germany the number of I know actually in Germany it is around 40,000 per year companies established, and number of startups might be in 4,000, so 10% maximum, something like this, 200. Yeah. Okay. Good. So we don't have your numbers, unfortunately, but the number of startups created in a mid-sized ecosystem ranges between 200 and 2,000. That's what you have in terms of startups per year. It's not more. So homework, find out how many startups you have and if you're green or if you're red. Good. It's good that we uncover some big question marks. Next question, policies. Policies. How could you measure the quality of government policy towards startups? What is the classic number that always is put into the world in the World Business Report? What do they always put in when they want to know how well the government takes care of startups? They say, how many days does it take to start a company? Of course, that's the most important thing that we need to measure. So, how many days does it take in Gothenburg to start a company?
Well, that depends. It's between 5 and 30 business days.
5 and 30, okay.
Depends on how quick you're online.
Okay. Okay, let's say 5. 5 for the quick ones. Iceland, how many days?
1 to 5.
1 to 5, faster.
Have all the certificates and stuff that you need.
Yeah, okay.
Put that in place.
Then you can
1 to 3 days.
1 to 3 days.
Nice.
Copenhagen?
Technically, all digital, so yeah, more or less a week.
More or less a week. Okay. How many days does it take to start a company?
1 to 2 weeks.
1 to 2. Okay, weeks. Okay. So let's say the benchmark is 5. So who is above 5? There we are above 5. Above 5. Okay, so who is it below 5? You're green. So who's green? Hands up. Okay, good, not bad. Color it in green. Finally, the last question, and we really need to wrap up, international connectivity. How can we measure international connectivity? I give you one simple thing, is like how many unicorns have an office in your city. That is one of the nice metrics. How many unicorns have an office in your city? I tell you that you have we can look it up here. In London, you have, what is it, 64 or 84? My eyes are bad. 84 unicorns have an office in London. And there's around, in this statistic, is around 500 unicorns. And 500 unicorns that have around 10,000 offices. It's like there's 84 in London. Paris, 33, Amsterdam, 22, Cologne, 1, Frankfurt, 12, Madrid, 13, Berlin, 24. Do you have an estimate what your ecosystem have? Sorry?
Current ones or?
Current. Now. How many unicorns have an office in your cities?
Just 2 that you know.
2? Good.
But there are more.
Okay. 3. Copenhagen I probably could find here. Okay. Okay, so let's say the benchmark again is 3. So benchmark is 3. Who has 3 estimated? Hands up who has 3 unicorn offices. Okay, only 1 plus. Okay, good. So we are done now. We are almost over. So the only thing that is lacking is to say how many pluses do you have. So let's start with Nick.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So Copenhagen has 4 out of 8 pluses. Good. Iceland, how many pluses do you have?
4.5, because the innovation culture was
Very good.
half.
So he's now very good. 4.5 for Iceland, and for Faroe Islands, 0 pluses. 0 pluses. But we probably had the benchmark too high. Okay, good. So 0 pluses for Faroe Islands. Very, very honest from you. So applause for the honesty of Faroe Islands. Come on, that is really good. I would have put some plus somewhere, just saying, yeah, we have unicorn offices. Okay, Greece, Athens, how many pluses?
I think 3.5. I'm not sure.
3.5. Good, 3.5 for Athens, also doing very nicely. Gothenburg, how many pluses? 4. Maybe 5. 4.5 as well. So you tie with Iceland. Okay, good. And here we had Trondheim, 0 pluses. Okay, so then basically we have a tie between Iceland and Gothenburg with 4.5 pluses. So great. We of course, we've proven in a statistical manner now that Gothenburg and Iceland are much more advanced ecosystems than Copenhagen. So, I mean, that was proven today without doubt, I think. So. Okay, if you had fun with this, what I can only say, we love to do these things, and we love to do this even much more serious and with real data. So if you're interested to measure the health of your ecosystem, you're much welcome to talk to us, and also talk about strategies, how you can help your entrepreneurs build even better ecosystems. So if you want to do that, come talk to us. Otherwise, it was a lot of fun working with you, and now we're going over there to have some beers. I heard the losers of the night bought at least some beer.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
And you can keep the documents, of course, of your victory if you want to.